It really is an honor to be here to testify in front of the Health Subcommittee of Energy and Commerce. And Mr. Chairman, thank you very much for holding this hearing during Breast Cancer Awareness Month. I think that's a particularly important symbol. It's fitting that we review what is needed in the fight against breast cancer during this special month when, although we pay special attention to breast cancer awareness during the month of October, it's important that we focus on that awareness and help women pay attention to their breast health throughout the year. And before I go further, I really want to give my deepest gratitude and thanks to the effort of three of my colleagues, Sue Myrick, Rosa DeLauro, and Donna Christensen, who embraced this legislation months ago before I publicly shared my own battle with breast cancer. And it was an honor to testify by the side of my friend and colleague, Rosa DeLauro. And Sue, you are just superhuman. I think there was one day when you got 45 co-sponsors for this bill in one small series of votes. It's hard for me to express how much I appreciate your support for me and the fact that I was able to share my story and talk to you about our mutual experience before I shared it with everyone else. Thank you very, very much. You've been there for me every step of the way. Breast cancer strikes women from all backgrounds, all races, all ages, and all ethnicities. It strikes black and white, rich and poor, those with access to quality health care and those without. But many women, too many women, do not know their specific risk factors or their family history. And this is especially true with young women who see breast cancer as an older women's disease. Many young women think breast cancer will never happen before they turn 40, but we know that young women can and do get breast cancer. In fact, each year, nearly 24,000 women under 45 are diagnosed with breast cancer in the United States. While incidence rates of breast cancer are much lower in young women than older women, young women's breast cancers are generally more aggressive, they're diagnosed at a later stage, and they result in higher mortality rates. After talking with many healthcare professionals, advocates in the breast cancer community, and the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, it became clear that there was an urgent need to help build awareness among this often overlooked group. These conversations led to H.R. 1740, the Breast Health Education and Awareness Requires Learning Young Act, or the EARLY Act. This bill will empower young women to learn the facts, know their bodies, speak up for their health, and embrace support. The truth is we all need to be better informed about our own health. We must empower each other to know and reduce our risks. And recently, I learned I had more personal risk than I was aware of. Almost 2 years ago, as most of you know now, only 6 weeks after a clean mammogram, I found a lump in my breast while doing a routine self-exam. My doctor diagnosed me with breast cancer when I was only 41. As a legislator, I've been in the fight against breast cancer for a long time. In Florida, I was the lead sponsor of the drive-through mastectomy law, the focus of Rosa's bill. I never dreamed I would need its protection myself. I thought I knew all of my risk factors. That's why I chose to perform self-exams and saw my doctor regularly. But after I was diagnosed, I learned I had more risk factors than I was aware of. I had no idea, for example, that as an Ashkenazi Jewish woman, I was 5 times more likely than the general population to have a BRCA1 or BRCA2 gene mutation. I didn't know that that mutation gave me as much as an 85% chance of developing breast cancer during my lifetime. Too many young women are unaware of their risk. The EARLY Act will give all young women the tools and information they need to take more control of their health. It will raise awareness of their personal risks and the importance of paying attention to their breast health. It will encourage young women to be familiar with the look and feel of their breasts. By knowing what feels normal, a young woman has a better chance of knowing when something feels different. And I can tell you that that's how it was for me. Because I did self-exam on a fairly regular basis, I was familiar enough with what my breasts normally felt like so that when I felt that lump, I knew it didn't belong there. The EARLY Act will teach young women and medical professionals about the importance of family history, warning signs of breast cancer, and predictive tools such as genetic testing that can help some high-risk women make informed decisions about their health. It will also provide grants to organizations dedicated to supporting young women diagnosed with breast cancer. These grants will help young women tackle the unique challenges that they face, like fertility preservation, body image, and self-esteem, as well as help them manage and understand their risks. And again, when a young woman is diagnosed with breast cancer, at 28 years old, for example, if they don't even have a boyfriend, and they're faced with breast cancer and having a double mastectomy and dealing with chemotherapy and facing their own mortality, on top of that, having to think about how to preserve their fertility, that is a unique challenge that young women who are diagnosed with breast cancer face that older women simply do not. And younger women have to face many more years as survivors, which present itself, in and of itself, unique challenges. So we have 371 co-sponsors in the House, including nearly all members of this subcommittee, and 34 co-sponsors in the Senate. The Early Act has garnered broad public support from more than 40 advocacy and health organizations, many of whose representatives are behind me here today. And I just cannot thank these groups enough for their support, for their expertise and their guidance in helping to craft this legislation, but also for their personal support of me, because it's just been very moving and special for me. Some say that we shouldn't be talking to young women about breast cancer at all, because it might scare them. Well, I find this quite simply patronizing. Young women and providers can handle the truth. They can and should be empowered with the knowledge that while only 15% of breast cancer cases are in women under 45, 8 of these women die every day here in America. Having no information when you're 35 about breast cancer and finding a lump in your breast, that is what is really scary. Over the past year, I've met with oncologists and other healthcare professionals that work with breast cancer patients, whether at MD Anderson Cancer Center in Houston, the Dana-Farber Cancer Institute at Harvard, or the Cancer Center at Memorial Regional Hospital in my district in Florida. The message is clear. Too often, a diagnosis of breast cancer is delayed or missed in young women. A Harvard study of young women with breast cancer found 26% delayed seeking medical attention and 27% experienced a delay in diagnosis after seeking medical attention. This means that more than half of young women are not receiving the timely treatment that they need. We must do better. By encouraging young women to know their bodies and their family history, and by teaching young women how to effectively talk with their doctors and their doctors with them, we can transform how we approach the fight against breast cancer. Every young woman that I know has the goal of becoming an old woman. With the passage of the Early Act, we can help more young women in America reach that goal and give them powerful tools to take control of their own health for a lifetime. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Really, you know, even now you give me a lot more insight into what needs to be done and what we need to do. And I just want to stress again, I know that there's been some discussion today about, you know, what's in the healthcare reform bill and how some of these bills relate, and some parts of them actually are included. But as I said earlier, this is a legislative hearing, and so we do intend to move the bills. And we'll look and see what's in, you know, the health reform and what isn't, and, you know, take that all into account. So thank you so much.
Mr. Chairman, I've been a legislator for a long time. Any which way this bill becomes law is fine with me.
All right.
Thank you very much. And thank you to the committee staff, because they've been an incredible source of support and guidance as we've moved through the process, too. Thank you.
Okay.